think I'm about to crap myself. I gotta fart so bad. God. Do you think if I like tried to cover it up with a cough, they wouldn't hear it?
Okay. Just do it.
I think I just pooped my pants.
Hello everyone, Pantoufleee here for another leak video in which we're going to talk about three main things. First, the Annihilator is available in Blitzhanger, so we're going to try to dig a little bit more into the statistics. Same with the Spike, the upcoming tier 5 collectible for the Halloween event. And finally, we will talk about the new game mode, which name is Vampirism. So let's start first with the Annihilator, the upcoming tier 7 collectible tank. Premium, sorry, not collectible. So, there are several things I want to talk about, but I'm gonna make it quick. First, as I told you yesterday during the Halloween leaked informations about this tank, Wargaming mentioned that every time there is a new Halloween event, it has something special. And the speciality of the Annihilator is gonna make it broken because the tank literally has no gun dispersion between each of his shells. Which means if your first shell goes where you're shooting, the other two will go at the exact same place. Which makes it one of the greatest tanks in terms of accuracy at tier 7, but also it means that you're gonna have an amazing DPM, because if all your shells goes into your target, you can climb up to nearly 2.7 thousand DPM for a tier 7. That's gonna hurt so bad. Of course, it has a bad penetration with regular shells. As you can see, you have 170 to compensate for that. If you go for the APCR, you will be able to penetrate everything. And finally, the HE with 45 millimeters. So to sum up, you have the exact same DPM as an SU-152, because as you can see by the magazine reload time, it takes 13.5 seconds to reload, which is the exact same one you have on the SU-152. Now, for the gun handling, if you use the right equipment, it seems like you can drop to 0.32 gun dispersion. If that's the case, this tank is gonna be incredibly good, and I'm probably gonna farm it again and again and again. Now, for the rest, we already talked about it. 8 degrees of gun depression, 12 degrees of gun elevation. The gun elevation sucks, by the way. Make sure not to be at the bottom of a hill and having enemies at the top, because if that's the case, you will not be able to penetrate them. But what is interesting here is that we finally have access to the armor profile of the tank, and I think it's balanced. In my opinion, it's really balanced, and I'm gonna show you why. First, if we talk about the lower part of the hull, which is the weak spot on pretty much every single tanks in this game, you have between 100 and 140 millimeters for the best part, which means everybody will go through tier 6, tier 7 and tier 8 included. For the upper part of the hull armor, it's the same. You can easily penetrate it simply because it's extremely rounded and not a straight line like it's the case, for example, on Nice 3 or something like that, which makes it quite easy to penetrate as you only have 170 millimeters for the whole thing. Now, where it becomes interesting, it's the turret, because the turret, the red part, is literally impenetrable by everything. Nobody will go through, except maybe if they use gold shells, for example, tank destroyers and all the stuffs like that. But we know that, I already told you that, an ISU-152 will always penetrate in the turret any tier 7 in the game, because it has more than 300 millimeters of penetration. But overall, yeah, the armor profile on the turret is good if we talk about that. There are two weak spots that you need to be aware of. First thing first, this little part here below the turret, which makes it an easy tank to penetrate. So when you're facing targets, just make sure to hide that by simply putting your tank not at the top like this, because if you do, they're gonna penetrate you. And the second factor is probably the whole part here, which is 200 millimeter thick, but easy to penetrate for a tier 8. Of course, if you're facing a tier 7 or anything and you're in face hug, they will not be able to penetrate, because it means that they will be stuck, for example, like this, so really close to you, you know, so it's gonna be hard to get that part. But for the tier 8s, they will not struggle penetrating. So at least the armor profile of the tank is balanced. For the side, is it gonna gonna be a good tank in Sidescrape? Let's see right now. It seems like, yeah, you can still do great things in Sidescrape as well, because you can climb up to more than 300 millimeters of armor when you are using your big ass tracks, which are quite used on this tank, quite huge, sorry, and that's why it's impressive. Now for the rest of the tank, it's easy to penetrate, nothing really exciting. Maybe a cool factor is the fact that nobody can penetrate your turret with HE shells at tier 7 or tier 8, which is great because that's where the munitions are located, so ammo racks are going to be a struggle to get with this tank, which is good. And for the last part, easy to penetrate with HE, so be aware to always stay straight, in front of your opponents. Now, concerning the Spike, which is the tier 5 tank that is coming with the Halloween event, here I have the statistics. I decided not to use Blitzhanger for this one simply because it's worthless. I'm just gonna sum them up with some text, so here we go. The Spike can be obtained at stage 9 of the Halloween event. It will have 650 health points with no armor overall, you're gonna see after in Blitzhanger. It has a good view range, 45 kilometers max, so pretty decent mobility, an average penetration that is really close to its counterpart, which is the Tech Tree 1, the S tier of the M45, if I remember correctly the exact name, that's the tier 5, you know, from the Swedish branch. Average damage 160, 135, 200, 200 being with HE and 135 being with APCRs, and the gun depression is 15 degrees, so definitely a tank you will like to get into a Healy position. Now, real quick, for the armor, you don't have any. 60 millimeters here, 120 there, 68 here, 55 here, 55 here. Even the gun mantlet is really easy to penetrate. You have a cupola, but who cares when your whole tank is a weak spot? And it's not even better on the side. I mean, everybody will penetrate you with HE included. So be careful with this tank. Never try to brawl or anything like that. And of course it was too good to be true, so here is what you can expect from the upcoming Halloween event. It's pay to win. The Halloween event is called Pyroleum. In this new event, in order for you to grind the stages to get your famous reward, which is the Annihilator, you will have to do 3 different missions per day. The first one is dealing damage with Halloween tank, the second one winning with those tanks, and finally destroy enemies with those tanks as well. So it's gonna be an event where you're gonna have to focus on playing all the Halloween tank except the Dracula and the Helsing. So expect the tier 7 matchmaking to be a complete nightmare for this event, except if it's only achievable in the new game mode, which is the Vampirism one. And I really hope it is, because if it's not, we're gonna have a broken tier 7 matchmaking for at least 2 weeks. There are 2 ways for you to complete the event, free to play or pay to win. If you are free to play, you will have to finish those daily missions I talked about previously, daily, on a daily basis, until the event is done. I don't know yet if it's gonna be enough for you to unlock the main reward, which is the new tier 7, but that's what Wargaming implied, or at least that's what Blitzpost said the event was about. It seems like it's a free-to-play event and you can probably do it, of course, if you grind a lot. You will have to play a lot during 15 days. They are not gonna get a brand new tier 7 tank that seems to be good for free. Don't dream. I mean, Wargaming is a company, they need to make money. So of course, I don't think playing free-to-play, if you don't harshly play, will not pay and you will not get that tank. But for those of you who have money or are working, there is another way for you to unlock the tank that is going to be much more easier, and it's called the Premium Battle Pass. This Battle Pass will feature additional missions on a daily basis for you to climb up the stages of the event much more easily, but also it will grant you the 31st levels of the event by default. So you will not start the event at stage 1, but stage 30. I want to remind you that there are 50 stages to unlock this tank, so the Battle Pass could be an actual good idea. Furthermore, the Premium Pass is definitely not expensive, as it will cost between $5 and $10. If it's the case, I can tell you that it's the best investment you could do this year. Getting the new Annihilator tank for like $5 or even $10 is truly worth it. And the cool thing with the Premium Battle Pass is that it will feature also some crates for the Helsing, the Dracula and the Lycan with 5% chance of drop. Of course, it's only for premiums. It feels and seems like the free-to-play players will not have access to these crates, but let's be honest, for $5 to $10, that's an amazing gesture from Wargaming to allow us to get a new tier 7 tank, and some chances to get those broken tanks we all love. So really for that, thank you Wargaming. Now let's focus on the upcoming game mode, which is called Vampirism. This mod is gonna feature two new things: the fact that you can heal your targets and the fact that you can heal yourself by shooting the others. It's all about a healing game. You will either have to shoot at your targets or your allies in order for you to stay alive in this game mode. Don't worry, I'm gonna explain that in a much better way after, but first I wanted to present to you the new ribbons you will be able to acquire while playing this new mode. To unlock it, it's simple, you will have to heal your allies by shooting at them. There is also a second ribbon. I don't have any photos here, so I'm sorry, but it will be awarded when you manage to heal yourself by shooting at your enemies. Basically, that's the main thing about Vampirism, I guess, so of course we're gonna have another ribbon, but for the moment the only photo I have is the healing factor one. Now let's focus on the mode itself and what it's gonna imply. Your tank will gradually lose health. I literally love this concept because it means it's impossible to camp, because if you camp, you are gonna die. And that's perfect. Thank you Wargaming, they finally found a way for us not to be bored about people camping, that's perfect. And so, as you're losing health, your only way to regain back that health you're gonna lose gradually, is to shoot either at your allies to heal them or to shoot at your enemies to heal yourself, which means it's a mod that is gonna be based on cooperation between allies on the same team. If you shoot at an enemy, you will be able to heal yourself up to 40% of your alpha damage, which means that, for example, if I have a 400 alpha damage gun and I shoot at someone, I will gain back my health for 40% of my alpha damage, which here is 160 health points. On the other hand, if I shoot at my allies, I will be able to heal them for around 50% up to my alpha damage, which means that if I have a 400 alpha damage gun, if I shoot at my ally, he will gain back 200 HP. On this game mode, the base capture speed is increased, your tank can be revived once per battle, and after rebirth, your damage, engine power, maximum speed, literally all the statistics of your tank are gonna be improved by 30%. Also, your health drop rate is gonna decrease by 30%, which means if you are in the battlefield and you're still on your first life, you will lose more HPs in time than the guy who just revived himself. As always, those battles in this game mode are not gonna affect your statistics, so let's be completely brain dead and have some fun. Finally, to finish, you will have those icons while playing in this game mode. It's here to remind you that you're losing your health, and every time it's completed, you will lose your health simply. It's just a reminder for you not to get surprised in battle by dying without knowing when you lose your HPs, etc. It will help you knowing, especially if you're low HP, if you get a push, if you have to come back, if you need help from your allies that should heal you, etc, etc. To sum up, this new event sounds quite interesting, as we'll get the possibility of getting a new tier 7 completely for free as long as you try hard, a new game mode which will prevent camping, as the thing that you lose gradually health will make people move. So in my opinion, that's a win-win. Tell me what you think in the comments about this new game mode, the new tanks, etc. And yeah, I'm gonna see you soon for a new video, guys. See ya.